As you grow as a coach, you have to demand less and less of yourself on the stage of a coaching session. When you look up the best coach in the world, if you Google them, I don't know who they would, I haven't done the Google myself, but I know what you'll find. You won't find the best coach in the world. You'll find the one that has the biggest platform, the most recognition, the best brand, the best marketing, really great packaging of principles, ideas, and support structures and advice. But you won't find the best coach, at least not by our definition. Our definition of the best coach is certainly not the one who is going to be center stage. They aren't going to be a person with a big personality that shows up during a coaching session. Because the best coach is going to expect more of their client and demand less of themselves in a coaching session. And this means that when you are watching the performance of the best coach or experiencing that performance, you as the client in this case would be sitting on the stage with a spotlight, feeling like you are doing the brunt of the work. But you know that someone is behind you, guiding you with your own intent. It is your performance as the client. It is what you want to present. But there's another person whose mind is on the same track, whose language is on the same track, and who is deeply challenging you to perform more, to put your whole heart into it. So the best coach is never on the center stage, but they are definitely on that stage somewhere, supporting the growth and development of their clients. Now, what this looks like in an actual coaching session is that oftentimes it's going to be a 1-to-10 ratio of talk time. So just somewhere about 8 to 10% of the entire coaching session is going to be the coach talking. And what does that coach do with that time? They focus on the simple language of the client in its essence, not all of the interpretation, not all the noise, not all of the fluff, but the core language and body language and tone and pace. And they leverage those things to share succinctly with the client a statement and powerful question in order to challenge that person to grow. And as the coach does this, as you as a coach do this, you are going to see yourself offering less and less of the mess that comes around your question and just focusing on the form of the language combined with the essence of a powerful question. Open beginning and a simple premise, and launch it off. Active listening requires the coach to look past all of the mess and just focus in on the essence of the client. This is hard, and this is why I think a mindfulness approach that looks at thoughts and emotions and data kind of passing through the coach's mind, not grabbing onto it all, not doing the work of validating all of that, but getting used to the stream of what the client is saying. And as the client is speaking, you might hear a little peek of what they've said. You might notice this little blip of their behavior. And you just loosely hold on to that while all the other information is there, but you aren't grasping at your next question. You're not wanting to latch on to an idea as if that's the only thing the client is communicating over a 3-minute period of time, and you're stuck back on second 10. You allow that language to go through you, holding loosely on some of the high points and the way your client is behaving, so that when they're done, you pause, you think, you process, and then you offer. And you offer only what is needed. What this does, it demonstrates a great deal of expectancy in your client. And you can't offer that level of expectancy for all of your clients necessarily. Someone who's new to coaching, they will need you to be a bit on that stage with them, to explain how the performance works and how to get the most out of the stage. But the more that client acts and interacts, the further the coach steps back. And through that process, you will grow your skills as a coach, even though those skills are going to feel like knots. You are not stepping in. You are not summarizing and paraphrasing a bunch. You're not explaining your questions. You're not talking hardly at all. But you're doing some of the best work and the hardest work in the industry. One way of imagining this or doing it better is to acknowledge and even offer the itch, but do not engage in the scratch. It sounds weird, but we usually talk about this in class and so many other words. The thing that you struggle with internally and that you want for your client, the thing that is kind of bothering you about what you're hearing in the session or what you're not hearing in the session, that's the itch. But don't scratch it. It's the itch of the session. It's not your itch. It's the client's performance. It's the client's experience. Acknowledge that there's this itch that's demanding to be scratched in the session and say, client, here's an itch. Offer it. When the coach scratches the itch and says, hey, here's my interpretation, and maybe we should do this. The coach is doing the scratching. The coach is doing the performing. The coach is more center stage. But as a coach, you might say, man, it's been a long time since either of us talked about where this is all going. Client, it's been a long time since we talked about where all this is going. Where is it going? Offer it. Because in doing that, you are expecting more of the client, demanding less of yourself, and you're demonstrating the belief that the client is capable. And that level of trust being demonstrated will elevate the coaching relationship, because that level of expectancy leads to the healthy kind of pride or self-satisfaction on the client's behalf. They did it. They resolved it. They decided with their own words, with their own language, with their own prompting, with their own direction. And that coach was there to say, hey, you can do this better than I can. So here's the question that this session, this situation, your reality, your life demands of you in this moment, client. Here it is, you answer it. Not everyone is ready for that level of coaching, but as coaches, coming into this stage of the program, you're ready to ask these kinds of questions. You're ready to offer these kinds of moments in a coaching session, deeply demonstrating your listening in the minimum amount of language with great spaciousness and great expectancy. Thank you for coaching and expecting more of your clients.